Hey everybody, welcome back to the Horror Academic, and this is week 4 already? Wow. So, um, this Monday episode, I am going to talk about A Quiet Place. Finally got to see it. Okay, so, yes, I was annoyed at myself for not seeing it in the theater, even more so watching it at home. So, there was a bit of a buzz about this movie that it was keeping theaters completely captivated, and people were so engulfed in the movie because there was so little dialogue and they had to really pay attention, um, uh, that it was keeping people from other distractions like their phones, right? So unfortunately, and I was afraid of this, it didn't really translate like that to watching it at home. I wish it had, but it's just the way our brains work now. It's very hard for me to not like check IMDb when I see an actor or think of something. This reminds me of, what was it? I'm googling, those types of things, checking up on my my accounts. So unfortunately, my screens were there, and I was not completely engaged as much as I would have liked. But the home environment is going to make it harder for that to happen with most films, I think. And this was a prime example. Um, so the film, if you don't know, A Quiet Place is essentially, it's a family that is existing in a kind of apocalyptic future where the monster that is attacking, or the monster that has taken over the planet, reacts to sound instantly. They are blind monsters, so their audio capabilities are massive. So any sound could trigger them, and boom, they'll be right there. But you pretty much knew this from the trailer. So I walked in knowing that. The thing that I was surprised by was I expected it to be one of those monster movies where the monster is hinted at or shown in shadows until the very end reveal in like the last reel, which was not true. And I was surprised by this. So your first kind of blurred image is less than 20 minutes, maybe 15 minutes into the movie. So it's like, okay, so it definitely is a monster in this film. Where the trailer left that kind of open ended. Weren't totally positive if it was a monster or not. So they're definitely like alien like creatures. We don't really know their origin or anything like that, but I was very surprised how much we saw the monsters in this film. And quite often in broad daylight. Um, which, it's definitely a thing you could not have done with CG 20 years ago. So it was very real looking CG. I applaud them for the quality of the special effects in this film. But the real star of this movie is not the monster. It is the actors who maintain this family of survivors, right? Essentially a small family. Um, the So much of the story is told through their faces and through sign language, which is subtitled. And you learn a lot very quickly through that. And so much is put on the actors, even the two kids. So much of the story relies on you seeing their emotions in their face when they can't speak or say anything or scream if they want to scream. You have to feel it kind of with them through their face, and they do an excellent job of setting that kind of mood within the film. Um, it's practically silent. There's very little dialogue throughout the entire film. Actually, I don't think you hear any words till more than halfway through the movie. It's all done through like standardized American Sign Language. It seems like mostly, which is like when the movie first starts. It's almost like a Walking Dead scenario. They're like doing a run. They're at like a pharmacy, it seems, and they're picking up supplies. And it tells you in that first scene so much. It's like the obviously the store is bare. The shelves are completely empty for a few items here and there that they're able to pick from. um, and it is very quiet, and it feels quiet, but there is still music. Later, you even lose the music, and it's completely silent. But it tells you so much, and I was kind of taken aback by, oh, they're communicating through sign language, and it looks like ASL, American Sign Language Standardized. That's interesting that we've come to this point where we've decided that is the language of the country, or even the world. And then you slowly realize this is because one of the children is deaf. So, okay, so that's maybe why this family could survive so much more efficiently than others, is because they're already used to communicating through sign language. So that's a great tell, and you learn that very early in the film, and that's great. I also saw a nice little nod to George Romero's Day of the Dead. When they exit the store, there's an open newspaper machine, and there's a flitting newspaper headline, no sound, and that just like boom sets the story. Just like in the opening scenes of Day of the Dead walk. Like that tells you so much that now you know the world you live in. So slowly it unravels, and like most good science fiction and horror, it reveals more and more of the world slowly to you as you kind of are jumped into the middle of a moment of their lives. And then we have these time jumps. And that shows you just how much time is really passing, how many days in, which is, again, a common theme I'm finding in many of the films I'm choosing to watch for this, is that, we count things in days in epidemics, and that's how it is. So it's just a really good job of clearly putting you into the world that this family is living in. And I was amazed to realize at the end of the film, aside from the members of the family, you only see 2 other humans in this entire film, and that's pretty impressive that they could pull that off, telling so much story with so few people in the cast. So excellent job with that. Like I said, the CG and the effects are done extremely well. There's these guttural feelings that you kind of get watching them go through this, and like in particular, this is a small spoiler. There's a point where there's a nail sticking up on the stairs, and in order to stay quiet, they don't wear shoes when they're inside, and you just know, it's just like every time they're on that staircase, like, oh my god, it's gonna happen, someone's gonna step on that nail, and they're not gonna be able to not scream. So the anticipation of that moment is amazing, and they build it so well, and you feel it right here when the person does finally step on that nail, and you want to scream for them. And that's impressive that a movie can make you feel that much. And all of the violence in the film, when it does happen, because it's not constant, it's a few moments here and there, and you feel them viscerally. So that's an impressive achievement for filmmakers. What else did I want to tell you about this? No, I don't want to tell you that because that's too much of a spoiler. I will say, it's a very clever film. It's very different in an age where maybe there's lots of loud, smashing music, and it's brought to you by Michael Bay. He's one of the producers, and there's not this kind of bombastic kind of craziness in this film. It's very subtle and very small, and the range of it is this town or this kind of farm area that they live in. So that's impressive to me that they could do that in a film and really it take off like that. So I wanted to make sure I watched it before the second one came out, because that was kind of what I was hoping to see in the theater, but that obviously has pushed back with everything going on in the world. But all that to say, I will anticipate when I can finally see A Quiet Place 2 in the theaters when that comes out, and I will see it in the theater this time to make sure that I can kind of retain that experience. So Quiet Place, definitely a thumbs up. I think for a new film, I think many fans of old and new horror and science fiction will enjoy this film. So I'll see you next time. This might be a short week of reviews because Friday is a holiday, and if I still have the day off of work, then there won't be a review that day, just to give you a heads up. So I'll see you guys next time, and thanks for watching.